Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Supreme Being, another podcast. This is 74, 75. We're moving along very quickly. First and foremost, sponsored by Team BC Real Estate, my real estate team. Go to BRYAN if you want to talk to us. We can help you worldwide in real estate. Number two, Modern Success. Get your ass on Modern Success, my coaching program and mentorship program for the world. Shout out to all the new members. I didn't get to see who joined today. Otherwise, I normally give shout outs. It's the link in my bio on Instagram. If you follow me on that platform, or go to my website, BRYAN and get signed up. It's on the front page. And lastly, eXp Realty. If you're a realtor and you're not at eXp, I don't know why you're not. Go to join.exprealty.com, get your application in, or you can message me and I'll send you some more info. Okay. So there's many subjects I talk about on this podcast, and normally it's just off the cuff. I never really prepare for these talks. I don't think I ever have. Normally a conversation will spark the topic, or an idea, a teaching for Modern Success or my team, and I'll just kind of piggyback that idea from a lesser standpoint, we can say, and not as in detail, and talk about it on the podcast. So what I want to talk about today a little bit is people's lack of attention to detail. Okay. Now, I don't mean it in a sense of preparation. I just mean it as an awareness and a state of mind, right? For example, I tell somebody to make a call or talk to somebody, and immediately when I say that, everyone's focus is, what do I say? Okay. You tell a guy to approach a girl. Oh, what do I say? When any of us who have any schooling in that subject know, it doesn't fucking matter what you say. Everything else is much more important than the words. You could do everything else right and say the wrong words and still get your point across, or start a communication with somebody, and it's going to be okay. Versus you can have the perfect words and everything else is fucked and you're going to get nowhere. So what that boils down to is attention to detail. And I think if people adopted that way of being and that mindset in everyday life and every single thing, this is the key for the podcast. It has to be in everything, man. Like it really does. From the way I brush my teeth, to the way I get dressed, to the way I think to myself, to the way I speak to myself, to the way I treat other people, right? When I meet people, for example, or I see the same people over and over, I always say hi, I always smile, I always have good vibes. You're never going to catch me, even if I'm feeling like shit, I'm never going to be like, oh, hi. I'm always going to be like, oh, hey, what's up? I may be dealing with my own shit, but I'm never going to project that onto you. I'm always going to be consistent because I pay attention to those details that are going to get me ahead in life. And when you adopt this way of being, it's really beneficial in a sense of you begin to see things change right in front of you. People respond to you differently. You get better results. You feel better emotionally, spiritually, right? Physically. It really just is a gateway into a new world. And how many of us have gotten to the point now where brushing our teeth, waking up in the morning, and maybe even before you get started and you work, for many of you, all of that every morning has become a blur. And like, you don't even really know. If you think about it at noon, you're like, fuck, I don't even know what I did between 5 or 6 a.m. when I woke up and 9 or 10 a.m. It's all just like forgotten or a blur. This is what I'm talking about. We have to take now activities that have slipped into our subconscious, bring them back to the conscious mind, and start analyzing them, paying attention to them. Like if I told any of you, can you break down the mechanics and what it's like to walk? People could walk, but if I asked you to meticulously break it down, most people wouldn't be able to. They would have no fucking idea. Well, one leg moves in front of the other. Okay. There's obviously a lot more going on. The contractions in the muscles, momentum, right? The skeletal structure. There's so much there. Yet when you ask somebody, do you know about walking? Everyone's like, oh yeah, walking's easy. They already think they know. So when I started paying attention to details and everything, it really opened my mind to like a new curiosity and a new way of being so interested in everything, because I'm genuinely interested in a lot of stuff. Like when I used to meet people, I would pay attention to details, right? If they move their eyes a certain way, if their nose wiggled, if they lit up when they talked about a certain subject, I would go in right there. I would ask them about that. I would get interested in that. The way people walked, the way people interacted with certain people, the pet peeves that people had, right? It really just interested me, right? It's funny. Everyone's like, I thought we were talking about sex. I can bring up some sex stuff, sure. We can kind of segue into that because that is directly tied to what I'm talking about, paying attention to detail. How many of you, for men and women, we can say dating, conversations with the opposite sex, even sex itself has just become this like automatic process for you and you don't really pay attention to it anymore. Okay. The reason I, for example, as a man, know that I'm very confident with myself in the bedroom with women is because I pay very close attention, and I did even growing up, to certain things, right? And a lot of people just want to rush over things, and they don't want to take that studious mindset when it comes to this stuff. So you've heard the saying, how you do anything is how you do everything. Well, if you're lazy in other areas, you're going to be lazy in your sexual life too, in your dating life. I mean, that's just the way it is. So one of the main reasons also that I'm putting all that shit out there is to put people's attention on it more, because so many people walk around miserable because they are sexually frustrated or unhappy with their status right now when it comes to sexual partners, dating, and everything that's enveloped with that. So, the evidence is given to me because I'm being messaged and hated on, right? Hated on by a lot of people who are men, mostly men. 99.9% of any hate that I've been getting or negativity in regards to me being sexual online more has been from men, right? I've had some people actually try to accuse me of, quote, in quotes, posting rape-like material. It's like, what the fuck? Men are telling me that. So I'm like, okay, that obviously shows me where people's minds are at, particularly men. Any type of post, any type of subject that triggers you like that is a gateway into knowing what an insecurity is for you. Okay? I mean, we know this as human beings. That's why if somebody's hiding something, even if it's not this subject, if they're hiding it and someone even dances around the issue and talks about it, they get very uncomfortable very quickly because that's an insecurity of theirs. So as I'm getting exploring more, right? And again, sex is just one vehicle, we can say, or one subject. I approach it paying attention to detail and being very studious about it. How many men can sit here and say, and women, I'll ask both sexes, I study the other sex. I study men, I study women, I study the psychology behind it, right? I want to get to know my partners or people that I'm going out with. I want to understand what turns on human beings, what turns them off, what attracts them, what repels them. How many people can actually sit there and say they study it? I do all the time. That's why I'm so fucking confident in these subjects. It's not a problem. That's why I can post all this shit too and not even fucking think twice about it. It's not a big deal to me. It's like an everyday thing. It's like if you fucking brush your teeth every day, you're not going to fucking freak out when you get a new toothbrush. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Here's a new toothbrush. But like, I like dancing and swimming in these subjects because it makes people so uncomfortable. So a lot of times when I'm out, if I notice a type of subject or a topic makes people uncomfortable, I go in and I talk about it more because I like other people revealing their insecurities and me sitting there demonstrating, hey, I'm comfortable with this shit. So for those of you who are looking to display confidence in front of people and you want kind of like a hack, well, whatever it is you're confident in, be confident with that and speak about it and demonstrate your confidence with that subject. That's a great way for somebody to get a gateway into you and your mind, what you're about. And because you're comfortable with that subject, obviously, as you grow and you develop, you're going to become comfortable and more, right? But again, that requires studying and working hard. But in the meantime, whatever you are confident with, that's the card that you play. Because then the world's going to see that side of you that's confident. Good. That's a start. Then you can work your way up. Because so many people getting new into something. Let's say, again, if we're going to dance around the subject of sex, somebody getting into the dating world who's maybe a teenager who maybe has only had sex with like one girl or two girls. If you're only confident with a non-crazy shit, like forget about BDSM and all that other shit, then that's what you're comfortable with and that's what you go with, dude. Right? Then you can take your time to study and then get new experiences and this and that and all that. But start where you're comfortable. Start where you're comfortable and start pushing that boundary constantly. That's what I did, right? So the combination of doing that and studying and gathering more knowledge, now you are naturally paying more attention to detail, but you're also moving forward in these areas that you want to move forward. So whatever the subject is, the formula remains the same and it's very simple. I just think people, for whatever reason, will look at a subject and they want to be good at whatever it is, but it's like there's like this disconnect. If someone's incredible at anything, believe me, it took a lot of trial and error, it took a lot of practice, and it took a lot of time. Right? Whether we're talking real estate, sales, online stuff, doesn't matter. It took a tremendous amount of dedication, but I guarantee you that person pays attention to detail. I don't know any successful business owner that doesn't pay attention to detail. I don't know any great lover that doesn't pay attention to detail. I don't know any great anything that doesn't pay attention to detail. So as an exercise for you, when you're out, to the people listening to this podcast, the next time you're in a conversation, any type of conversation, business, non-business, pay attention to certain details about the person. Listen to what they're saying, but pay attention to details. Do they light up around a certain subject? Do they have a twitch when you talk about certain things or when they say a certain word? How's their voice, the quality of their voice? Can you hear any inflections, maybe that demonstrate nervousness or they're unsure about something? This is the stuff we have to start paying very close attention to. I pick up on this stuff a lot, but again, I'm in front of people and I'm talking all the time and I pay very close attention to stuff. And as you do this more and more, just like you hear athletes always say this, everything starts to slow down and you pick up, you can see a million things at once. And it's really cool and interesting because then you can point out stuff. You don't have to point it out to them, but you can point it out to yourself and take like a mental note that other people really will never get. But again, it's going to take a lot of time of you sitting in front of people and saying, I don't know what the fuck I'm paying attention to. I don't see shit. That's okay. It's overwhelming at first. It's like the first time you swam. I remember when they taught me to swim, they threw me in the fucking pool and I was like, oh, what the fuck? And then I kind of figured it out. Now, of course, just like riding a bike or anything else, you do it naturally without even thinking about it. So you have to decide, okay, what do I want to get good at? What do I want to focus on? And I'm going to get better at that. And you need to do it. But when it comes to some of these touchy subjects like sex and dating, you're going to have to deal with a lot of criticism, right? A lot of men try to talk shit if you study and say, well, I'm studying evolutionary psychology. I'm studying social dynamics. I'm getting better at conquering my fears and all that. People will try to ridicule you. But the people who ridicule you are terrible. They have no game. They don't get any women. And they're probably secretly studying while they ridicule you. You need to know that. Why would anybody hate on you for bettering yourself? Because if anything, that benefits the world. If men and women learn to interact better, the world would be a much better place. But we have two opposite sexes that are taught bullshit growing up. And again, this talk about opposite sexes, I mean, this is around every subject. We're taught incorrectly about a lot of shit. I'm just focusing on this. So there's a lot of erroneous philosophies and Disney type of storylines that we're brought up with thinking it's this way, but it's not. That's not really what works. But no one stands up and says, hey, this is what it is. That's why I sit in my little cave at times and I study and then I just go out and I get results. Then as I get results, I can report back and people can begin to see it over time and say, okay, I'm going to talk to this dude. Obviously he understands something I don't. So that I feel is my duty as not only a man, but a teacher in sales and all this other shit that I do to help people. I'm just sitting here reporting my life and what's going on, and you're seeing the reel of the movie going on. And when you see results and you see things that I say actually coming to fruition, you're like, okay, fuck, I want to learn, or damn, okay, this person obviously has something to say of substance because they keep getting results. So when we look at the subject now, paying attention to detail, and I say, okay, I want you to, as an individual, attract a client or attract the opposite sex. I can codify that for you. Easy. Do this, blah, 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 blah. There you go, and teach it to you. Now you, on the other side of the screen, or listening to this in your car or wherever you're at, If you don't know the answer to that and you're in those fields of selling or whatever it is, or dating at the time, then you need to say, okay, obviously I need to figure this fucking shit out. I can't rant and rave and parade around saying, oh, I want to be good at these things, and you're not doing shit. You need to be able to break it down, not to teach, but for you to be able to apply it. Very simple. I see an incongruence there with a lot of people. Don't come to me. Don't come to anybody else. I mean, fuck, so many emails and DMs. Oh, I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be, it's like, cool, dude. Why are you telling me? Show me. Show me. By the way, you guys think BC means my initials. Think again. Think here. Okay. Now that we're on the subject of sex. So show me. Show the world. Don't talk. You can talk, sure. But there has to be some sort of demonstration of results behind it. Now, when you do that repeatedly over and over, now you start creating an effect. Now there's something valid to your message in you. So then if you come out and talk, you can say, well, I've done A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Okay, cool. You have the success. You have the results to prove your theory or beliefs, because that's all it is. It's my beliefs and philosophies that I currently operate with and live with versus the person criticizing me or attacking me. So again, me as an example, I'm getting results in every field that I'm in that I know other people would look and say, fuck, I want those results too. Therefore, if somebody comes in and wants to attack my belief or philosophy, I say, present your belief or philosophy. That's second. First, it's what results do you get here? If you get better results than me, then I'll have a conversation with you. If you don't, there's the door. I have no interest in listening to your opinion, because at that point, it's just that, an opinion, which you're entitled to give, but I'm also entitled to deny and not listen to, because I don't want to listen to that bullshit. So most people get cut off there. Now, if somebody's getting better results and they have a different belief or philosophy, I have an open mind enough to say, okay, let's sit down and let's listen to this shit. School me on what it is that you're doing, because you're getting results. So you're qualified to give me this powwow, this little chat. Let's go. Let's listen. And then we're in a conversation and I'm open enough to move to the next one and say, okay, shit, this philosophy actually helps me. And what's kind of the gauge or radar for you as an individual to say, should I adopt this new belief or philosophy? This is it, right? Of course, we're not going to break any laws and hurt people, right? That goes without saying. I know I can get in trouble. That's why I always say that. Do not break the laws of where you live. Can this new belief or philosophy help me on my journey and get me closer to where it is that I want to go? Is it more beneficial than my old one? If the answer is yes, then you take it and you adopt it. It's that simple. Because most people fall into two categories. Either whatever they read, it's law. Oh, I just read this book and it said this. And then all of a sudden that's their law. It's like, whoa, dude, relax. It's either that or whatever they believe, you cannot change their mind. A stuck mind is weak. Yes, you want to be firm in what you believe in, but there has to be the ability to change if you want it to change. Otherwise, your mind is weak, which is where most people think. If they just gung-ho their beliefs and philosophies, even though they might be totally fucked up, which is 99% of the people who try to argue with me, they have a weak mind, and I have no interest in debating with them. It's like, dude, you're stuck with your ancient, if we're going to talk technology, your 20,000 BC technology, no pun intended, right, with BC. And now I'm giving you the 2019 way, and you're saying no, because I stand for what I believe in. Well, what you stand and believe in is fucking erroneous. It's false. Why would you stand by something that's false? It doesn't make sense. So we have to have the ability to adapt to something new. And I'm always open to it. It's just, I'm very meticulous about that. I'm not just going to take, again, if you're the example of somebody who reads and what you read is law, you need to take these philosophies and techniques or whatever it is that you're learning and try them out and find other people that are getting results with it. Then you can kind of legitimize it and say, okay, this is something I can do. But there has to be that experimentation and implementation phase for you to test this. So people will say, how do you apply what you read? Okay, let's say you read something. And again, this is paying attention to detail. This is all tied in. You read something, let's say it's a new belief or philosophy on social interactions with people, as an example. Then you wear that and say, you know what, I'm going to wear it for a week and I'm going to go out there and interact with the world with this new belief and see the type of feedback that I get. Now, if you do it and you do it correctly, and you're getting better feedback or feedback that's more favorable to where you want to go, then you know that's a belief or philosophy you can adopt, period. That's how you read and apply something. You take it and you wear it and you're like, okay, I'm going to go out into the world with this new belief or philosophy and see where it gets me. That's it. If it's a technique in the book, you stop fucking reading and you do the technique over and over. I remember doing that when I was reading all the little techniques I was learning, like mental techniques and NLP and all this other shit. I would just do it. But what do most people do? Oh, I'll do it later, and they keep reading. No, you're not fucking doing it right. You have to take the technique and use it over and over and over and get good at it. That's it. Not, oh, I'm going to read it later, I'm going to do it once. No, you fucking do it over and over until that shit is second nature. That's how you read and apply. But see, but that's what I thought you're supposed to do. Then I get questions saying, how do you read and apply? It's like, how do I answer that? Like how I just did. But to me, that seems the obvious thing to do. So we come back to a point where you do have to pay attention to all these little things. And I'm just somebody who does pay attention. But we've been fooled to think that the person who pays attention is stiff or isn't loose and doesn't have fun. What the fuck does that even mean? I've seen other people get attacked by paying attention to detail. Of course, idiots attack them and they actually buy into that whole back and forth and get into it with them. But you need to understand that there's always going to be some surface level idiotic attack when you have a certain way of being that's different. Here's an example for you. Take a look at the people walking through your local mall, wherever you're at, and take a close look at those people the next time you're out walking around and think to yourself, the way this person looks and how they're walking, are they paying attention to the details of life? And I guarantee you the answer is going to be a resounding hell no. Hell no. Versus me, I can, look at the plants in the mall and other things. Oh, that's cool. The design, it's interesting. Whereas most people, that shit, they don't even pay attention to it. They're just like walking like zombies. Like I laugh when I see people drive. They look like they're dead. Even when they honk the horn or like something dramatic happens, like their facial expression stays the same. It's crazy. Then they wonder why they're miserable. So I urge you to become a little bit more aware, because that's really what this is about. And then dedicate yourself to your studies and what it is that you're doing, because without adding anything new to the table, it's just simply utilizing what's already there more and squeezing every drop of juice from the lemon that you already have, instead of just tossing it to the side and saying, okay, it's a lemon, whatever. You get what I mean? Simple stuff, very nothing that is out of this world. It's just simply a new way, living more consciously versus subconsciously. Cool. All right. If you guys have questions, I'll take them. Have you had someone walk away in your life? Yeah. And I've walked away from other people, dude. But that's life. I don't cope with it. That's just life. Have you read any Rollo May? No, I have no idea who that is. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Don't think he is reading the comments. I see them. I don't really read them though until after, but I'm going to ask that you repost them, please. I don't want to have to scroll up because there was a lot. If you have questions, if not, we'll end it early. Yeah, I mean that's a part of the roller coaster ride, Michael. Because without great pain, you don't get great rewards and gains, dude. That's just the way it is. Anything worth having isn't easy. Any person who's gone through, but I'll tell you this, Michael, and this will help you. Myself or anybody who's achieved something great, who's gone through a lot of the shit that you're describing right now, hell, literally, right? Ask any of them at the end of it, once they start getting momentum and they succeed, ask them, was it worth it? And you'll never hear somebody say no. And if you do hear a no, it's like 1 out of a gazillion. Was it worth it? All the tears shed, all the blood, sweat, and everything else? Yes, it's worth it, dude. 100% it's worth it. I'll stand here and tell you 1,000,000 times it's worth it. So remember that. Because as bad as it seems now, it's going to be good. Sales agent, wholesaler at the same time. I recommend you focus on one DMV. Either be a wholesaler or be a agent. Would you ever start an FBA business? No interest in doing that, Matthew. No. What else? How many hours of sleep? Probably six on average, something like that. What are your thoughts about being responsible for how you feel? I totally believe you're 100% responsible for how you feel. For example, Monica, you start talking shit to me. It's up to me to decide if I'm going to let your words affect me or not. Right now, of course, if I get super sick or something, yeah, it's going to fuck with me a little bit. Right. But I think overall, most of the times that people feel like shit and their emotions run wild, it's because they've pushed away the responsibility. Right. I feel like everything in life gets better when you take responsibility for it, and how we feel. I 100% agree. We need to get a grasp on it. Do you do any wholesaling? I've done like two or three wholesale deals in my whole career. So not too many. I had this girl come in my life who I actually got comfortable, but sometimes I feel like down and feel alone sometimes. So you guys got together and then you broke up, Michael? Is that what happened? Love your resilient attitude. Thank you. I've had to learn it and develop it over time. You own any stock? I just own stock in EXP. That's it, Frank. I don't really trade, though. I'm not really well-versed when it comes to that stuff. Disaster. Well, be number one, Hagen, be very picky, in particular about what words you use, because that word carries a lot of weight with it. And how you describe an experience sums it up, and it affects you emotionally. To one person, what's a disaster to me is an opportunity, and just switching that word completely changes your reaction to it and what happens after that. So you have to be very particular about the language that you're using. Anything we want to do has to be worth it for us to be willing to go through hell and back. Yep. Part of it too. I feel hell is about perspective. Yep. Absolutely. Shit, put me in hell. I'll thrive. I'll make the devil my bitch. Yeah, we kind of left in bad terms of being too clingy and toxic. I know she's not meant to be in my life, but I just feel alone. She made me feel like someone actually cared about me. How about your friendships, Michael? Do you have any close friendships, or is that the only type of relationship you've had in a long time where you guys were close? I use my office space in KW every day. Well, what's it called? EXP has the Regis system, which allows you to rent office spaces in different buildings all the time. But it's free. That's free. That service is free, DMV. But if you want more information on EXP, just message me. Anything else? I feel like a lot of people left because we ended up not really talking about sex. Apparently, you're all nymphomaniacs who just want to talk about sex. What about being stuck in a situation you're pretty fucking deep in? I don't think people are stuck, Christina. I think we know exactly what we need to do. If you're stuck in a situation because you didn't communicate to somebody or you're allowing it to happen, we're still responsible for it. So you got to do whatever it takes to get past it. How to deal with criticism? You got to level up your inner game, Matt. Get on my program, dude. I will turn you into a monster. Well, the down that you're going to feel, Michael, I mean, we all feel that, right? I mean, fuck, any of us who have been in a relationship, it has its highs and its lows. So how to overcome fear? The emotion of fear never goes away, Andrew. You face it. Instead of trembling in fear, you face it head on because you're going to feel the emotion anyway. Filtered illusions. What would you say to someone who is 35? I'm not a dating coach, guys, by the way. I'm just letting you know. I just talk about this shit, but I'm not a fucking licensed dating coach or a pickup fucking coach. I just like talking about it. Filtered. When you're out, okay, I'll give you this advice, right? And I don't care how old you are. Nobody likes it, like when we go out, whether you're a man or a woman, if somebody comes up to you and they meet you, oh, I'm looking for a serious committed relationship, like that makes me or a woman or anybody run away. We don't like to hear that. So you can have that in the back of your mind, right? But to just go out and say, oh, I want to go out and get laid. I want to go out and find a wife and this and that. That's